afternoon, everyone. My name is Prabhu Palanisamy. I represent Onward. Super excited to present the topic on HR service automation, exploring how the next generation of HR service delivery looks like with you all. With me, I have Girish Reddy, co-founder of Onward. Before we go into the presentation, just a quick intro of who we are. Onward is an Atlassian marketplace partner that specializes in building worker engagement solutions. We are backed by Atlassian Ventures, and we currently have 3 apps in the Atlassian marketplace. Before we start the presentation, I just want to run a quick poll on how many tasks do your organization execute as part of onboarding. We'll share the results as we go along. But just to level set, with the proliferation of so many applications being, having remote teams, distributed global teams, in today's environment, employee needs to have access to several resources. Here in the slide that I'm sharing, you can get a feel of a few of them. Access to my collaboration tools like Gmail, calendar, my HR systems, for example, Workday, and so on. How do we build the next generation HR service delivery that connects to the candidates with the tool of their choice, provide that personalization, customized journeys is the core of my talking. We are passionate about the convergence of HR and IT, people tech in particular. For those who are listening, if you are looking for Gen AI, LLM, AI, sorry to disappoint you, but I promise the few minutes that you're going to spend with us will be equally and deeply engaging. Similarly, on the offboarding side, like a critical workflow when it comes to HR service automation, this has to be done with respect. This has to be done with tight compliance and data security, most of the time bound, and also provide a graceful exit for the candidate as well as the organization. How can these type of solutions be built? Like always, when there is a problem, we throw at a lot of solution at it. I need to have a template-based design. I need to have checklists. I need to have a comprehensive task management. It needs to have native integrations, and expecting that a HR business partner or a HR admin knowing all these tech jargons. This is where that convergence of tech and HR is happening, and we strongly believe the use of Jira Service Management and the associated tools is going to help and support the organizations. Think about your own employee onboarding experience. Both good and bad is memorable to you. Did it have a personalized journey Did it have the right clarity in terms of roles, communications? Did it have access to the right systems at the right point in time? Most often than not, it falls short. Again, I'm using the critical workflow of onboarding and offboarding as an example. The same applies for the rest of the HR service management tasks. How do we build a consistent and a scalable service management? Let's talk about the building blocks. Let's talk about the recipes, if you will. We strongly believe that the next generation of HR service management is highly personalized. Meaning, can we have an onboarding journey that is specific to a role, a function, or even a location? For example, can I have an employee onboarding journey tailored for a technical developer, for a sales executive, for an intern or a temp hire? That is critical. Second, can we have personalization associated with it? This is where the use of AI is going to be critical and orders of magnitude useful. Can we have email templates? Can we have responses that are specific to the question the new hire is requesting for? Third, intelligent automation. Most of the HR systems and the associated applications have a robust API. Most of these applications have come a long way. Very good support for REST API, very good support for webhooks, very good support for messaging based interactions. How do we take advantage of it? How do we, for example, when a candidate is hired in an applicant tracking system, can be captured and pass it on to the HR system, reducing the workload of manual data entry by the HR business partners. Fourth, can we interact and communicate based on the preference of the candidate? Meaning, can we send a text message that, hey, this particular task is pending, can you complete it before your next onboarding step? Engaging the team in Slack related conversations, albeit most of the time they may not have full access, but as the candidate goes through the onboarding experience, how can we include the rest of the team before the day one? Next, how can we keep it configurable, making the task activities not being too rigid? Let's say, for example, in this case, if an organization is using Jira work management as opposed to Jira service management, how can we make that easily usable, not being stuck to one particular structure, for example, issue type versus request type? Last is there a comprehensive list of tasks from a library that I can pick and choose and use it as part of my journey? These are some of the things that we feel strongly about. Would love to hear from the audience. Use the Q&A panel to highlight if we are missing anything or if these topics is connecting with you guys. We asked several HR business partners, what's your average number of tasks that you execute as part of onboarding? How many applications that you connect? How many internal resources that you interact? And how long does it take? Obviously, the answers varied, but couple of baselines. Regardless of the size of the organization, there are at least 20 plus tasks that the organization goes through to complete onboarding. This is like the HR compliant tasks such as doing the I-9 verification, getting the background check completed, health screening, etc., and runs to several tasks based on the role, the regulations, and the compliance required. As I mentioned, the application list is only growing. These days, having cloud-based service access is not only easy to use, but also is fundamental for the competition and ensuring the employees are focused on their productivity and not bogged down by the back office activities. So what that means is getting access to collaboration tools, Slack, Workday, Salesforce, Calendly, DocuSign, etc., and the list goes on. Today, even though these HR tasks is responsible and accountability lies with the HR team, which is rightfully so, these have heavy dependency to IT team. Giving access to a specific application, creating an account, creating a particular set of tasks for the onboarding to complete, shipping them a laptop, sending them the email access details, etc. If we look at it, with this intersection of this high dependency, meaning even though these are HR tasks, there is a lot of dependency on IT. How this can come together? This goes to my, the preference, right? Each team, depending on their function and the nature of work, they spend a significant amount of time on their primary application. And we call that as the user's natural workspace. For example, if I am part of IT, development, DevOps, etc., most of my time is spent in updating and managing my Jira related activities. If I'm part of, like say, HR and finance, the HR and finance applications, Workday, for example, is where my majority of my time is spent, and so forth. And if you look at it, for new hires, for the last even 2+ decades, email is the primary natural workspace. You get the offer letter in an email, you get the notification for laptop shipment in an email, every business benefits inquiry is an email, right? How do we change that existing setup to provide the next generation user experience? For folks who live and breathe in the Atlassian ecosystem, this is where the work starts, right? A task is created, a task is assigned, and that task needs to be worked upon. For us, this unit of work is for both visibility as well as an opportunity for automation. That's how we see it. So if we see an activity, for example, hey, create a pre-hire worker profile for the candidate who is just accepted the offer. Can we automate that unit of work? Instead of HR business partner, keying in the data by looking at the data from the applicant tracking system and creating a worker profile, can we automate that process? Can we make that seamless? Can we make that error free, and as well as visibility, end-to-end visibility to the hiring manager, the internal staff, etc.? So let me break it down, right? In this example of onboarding, there are three distinct phases, if you will. One, the pre-hire. All the communications of the interview scheduling, interview feedback, acceptance, until the acceptance of the offer, all happens in applicant tracking system or the recruitment model. Then comes the pre-boarding, meaning a candidate has accepted the offer and is going through all the onboarding requirements for the getting started for day one. And finally, the day one activities, which is meeting with the manager, is the OKR set, is the performance goals for 30, 60, 90 days aligned, and is the expectations aligned with the team to get started on. Outside of all the other applications that I mentioned, in this case itself, there are a few core systems that needs the workflow touches upon. Let's say, for example, greenhouse. Can we have an automated trigger where when a candidate accepts the offer, does Jira Service Management picks it up? In that scenario, can I get all the candidate details that I can validate, verify, create relevant tasks for onboarding, and in addition to it, make the relevant API calls to the HR systems to create those worker profiles? Let me double click on that to open it up, right? I would imagine folks are very familiar with the Jira Service Management, Jira Work Management, if you will. There are some, specific intake forms that I can configure when a candidate is hired, as specific for, hardware requisitions, meaning what type of laptop do you need? Do you need a monitor? Do you need a mouse, etc.? These are all intake forms. How can we, configure our workflows that can pick up these information, send it to the candidate, get the details, and then have relevant tasks that are linked, meaning can I have end-to-end visibility of the end onboarding process? Not just the hiring, but do I know when the email is created? Do I know when the laptop is shipped? Do we know when the candidate has selected the benefits, etc.? Associated approvals. Each organization, each function or a business team may have specific approval thresholds that we need to take care. How do we bring that all in? Here, let me take a pause and show what I mean by that personalized journeys, that configuration for selecting the pick and choose the task libraries and automating them. Imagine an onboarding experience where I can have personalized workflows, meaning I can have a workflow that is specifically for developers. I can have a workflow that is specifically for temp hires, sales teams, an employee onboarding template that is configured for workday triggers. If we make that industry specific, let's say, how healthcare providers and medical device companies wants to onboard their clinical research professionals, how can I set it up? What we have is a flow that can be set up to have a collection of tasks, if you will. The flow can be triggered by a Jira issue or a request type. So this is the triggering event, or through external systems, meaning when a candidate is hired in Workday, can I pick it up? And vice versa, meaning when an employee has sent his resignation, can I pick up the termination event and complete the process? Or if I have let's say a set of interns all joining on a specific start date, can I automate those processes instead of going one candidate at a time? Each of these tasks can have automation associated with it. What I mean by that is, let's say, email setup. We can assign a task that automates that user creation to, let's say, depending on the organization, they use Azure AD or Okta, Jump Cloud, etc. Can I make that automation and complete that email creation process? For necessary approvals and additional reviews and validations, can I still assign a human reviewer to ensure tasks are completed as per the internal IT compliance? And as I mentioned, can I have a library of tasks or a repository that I can pick and choose from? What we have done is we have built the common onboarding task, offboarding, and other HR service tasks that are relevant for an organization. So the Jira admin can pick and choose these tasks and use it as part of the flow. We also provided ability for users to add their own task, because we feel that each organization is unique in a way that they would like to configure and customize. Now you may wonder, where does this automation happen? Right? Great. There is a candidate that is hired. I want to pick up the data, create the task. I see the library. What we have done is we have built tight integration to the post function. Folks who are familiar with workflows, this is the core of adding post functions to the step transitions, where you can add as transition that, hey, a task is created. Let's say, for example, create a pre-hire worker profile for Workday. What we support is the common set of tasks that I can call in that step transition within the workflow. Each of these methods, we have already built that abstraction and the mapping all within the Jira platform. So what makes it easy for the Jira admins is to select the method that I would like to use, configure all the field mappings. So if you notice here, these are all the fields that you can pull in, which is as part of the Jira Service Management project. If you have a form, those form fields will also be available to do the mapping. And the output. So these output are available, meaning when I make that Workday API call, a response is received. How do I use the response that I can utilize and map it to a specific field within a task? With this, we make it super easy for organization to do the automation. So, imagine a task is created. I can select the Workday method and create a worker profile. I can create a user account by calling the Azure AD create user method, and so on. Now to look at it, to summarize, to have a HR service automation, one, integrations are critical. Integrations at the right event, meaning obviously there are a lot of options available: custom coding, Groovy, scripting, Python, use of integration tools, etc. Each method has its own pros and cons. What we feel strongly about is, can we do an event-based integration? Meaning, when an event happens, a candidate is hired in greenhouse, can I pick that event? An employee has been terminated in Workday, can I pick that event? An employee for internal transfer has been status updated in Bamboo HR, can I pick that event? That is crucial because that will avoid manual entry, that will avoid the low level task of redoing the work by the HR business partner. Second, journeys. This is not new for marketing teams. There is a heavy emphasis on personalization for customers, right? We want to have account-based marketing. We want to have personalized, ad targeting for our customers. We believe that type of personalization and customization will come to for managing our own employees. Can we have personalized onboarding journeys? Can I have personalized, even let's say internal transfers, internal job, applications? How can I manage that? Third, automation. As I said, not only having that integration, making that API call, but automating the task end to end is crucial. Finally, it's the insights, right? Let's say if I have a onboarding that has 10 different steps of a candidate, and for such we have four new hire candidates that are going through the process, can I have that granular visibility? This will help not only for the hiring manager but also surprises when it touches several departments. We don't want to have a surprise to the hiring manager that a candidate cannot start tomorrow morning due to email access not available or laptop is not shipped. Having that end-to-end visibility is crucial. Last, as I said, no longer is email need to be the primary communication of choice. depending on the preference and the tools, engaging with employees, new hire candidates through SMS, WhatsApp, new hire portals is going to make a big difference. Hope this is useful. Love to have your questions. Feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and Girish and I would be happy to answer them.
There are a couple of questions already here. Let me take them one by one. All right. So the first one, do you support communication with new hires who do not have a company email? So yes, we do support that. I think that is one of the common use cases for new hire onboarding. Maybe even for offboarding when employees leave the company and they may not have access to their email accounts. Being able to communicate with them over email or SMS, that's something that we support. We also have the ability to send JSM forms. For example, if you want to, as part of onboarding, if you want to collect some information from new hires, typically laptop preference, maybe if you are ordering some swag like t-shirts, then t-shirt size, and any other relevant information as part of onboarding, you can collect as part of the form, and the responses are integrated to the overall tasks that IT or relevant folks can then use to complete them. So we do support that kind of communication. Another question is, what HR systems do you integrate with? From one of the slides, we highlighted the systems. HR systems specifically, we support Workday, Bamboo HR, and Greenhouse. Greenhouse being an ATS system. And we are growing that list to other popular HR systems. So if folks have a specific HR system that they use, we would love to discuss that and add it to our roadmap. Let's see, I think there's one more. How do you handle security to ensure sensitive HR data is kept secure? That's a very good question. Obviously, dealing with HR data, onboarding, maybe particularly offboarding as well, being able to restrict who can access, who can view these onboarding and offboarding tasks is critical. So we have several levels of security that the Jira admin or the main HR admin can set up. This will ensure that the tasks are visible only to the authorized persons. And of course, there's always the Jira issue security that can then be leveraged as well in order to ensure tight security, and only folks with access can view those issues and their statuses. Those are the questions so far. Any other questions, folks? Feel free to add it to the Q&A.
Perfect. And on the polls, just to quick sharing on it. No surprise on the response. Majority responded with 10 to 20 to more than 20. That's our experience as well, in the sense as we talk to HR business partners, it's the number of tasks is growing, right? And doing it manually, doing it the incident management, task management way is not going to scale. and it is going to grow exponentially if we multiply by the new hires as well as the terminations associated with it. So for HR teams and IT to look at HR service management, it's not the unit of work, but that whole holistic picture when candidate goes through that onboarding or the offboarding experience. So hope you find this session useful. We have our contact details, available in the profile as well as the end of this session. Would love to hear feedback or questions, and thank you so much for your time. Oh, I think there is one more question, Girish.
Yes, I think one just came through. Is there a way for an ex-employee to access his or her documents whenever needed, even after their access is terminated? This is possible. The way we do this is by through essentially JSM portal. So we will be able to send a communication email, for example, to the ex-employee, asking them to log into a particular issue to a particular portal. And then once they are in the portal, they will be able to access their prior issues that were part of their offboarding. And to those issues, one could upload, make certain documents available so that way they can have access to it. This also allows users to provide access to additional documents in the future. W-2 is a common one here in the US, where at the end of the year, that will need to be made available. That process allows for exchange of these files in a secure way. Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Girish. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.